Hi, so welcome to India Market Review, 24th June 2016. The British referendum is in, and indeed it's been a surprise to many people. And Britain has decided to basically exit the European Union. Okay. All right, so I hope you're seeing the screen. Somebody can also cross-check, if this is right, because in the morning today when I was tracking this, Yahoo seemed to be giving a little bit of incorrect data. But anyhow, assuming this is right, then S&P, or haven't yet opened? No, they should be open, right? So down 2%. Not sure why it's not updating. And the Dow Jones down, well, okay, 2%. So the US is really not down in 5-6% type things. Nasdaq 2-3%. And if we look at Europe, and Europe, this is what's really surprising to me. Is the FTSE down only 1.8%? Is this what's going on? And if this is the case, this is a massive surprise. Huge recovery, no doubt about it, intraday from the lows of the day, right? CAC is for the laggard, but if FTSE is down only 1.5%, that's an amazing thing. And if it stays up, that's really going to be something, right? So let the market settle down, and if this is where Europe actually indeed does close on a like 1 or 2 or 3% down, compared to 8-9% down that it was, early part of when they opened in the afternoon India time. That would be, I don't know, it really don't have words to explain it, and we'll just have to, wait and watch. In terms of, so basically coming to, India and wanting to look at the India side, and what I expect is the sort of recovery that we saw in the Indian indices. You're going to, first of all, they didn't fall as much. Nikkei fell 8-9% intraday. We closed only 2.2% down. We were down about 3.5%. And as you can see, daily chart, there's been a really nice recovery. There's a big gap down, big recovery, and depending on which type of moving average you're looking at, exponential or simple. So what I have here is exponential. It's come to that level around 7,900 as a good support, and has essentially bounced off from there. If I look at the low here, then as you can see, it is a, I wouldn't say very significant, but nonetheless support line. Now you've got a top there, you've got two tops there. There are better supports for sure. Okay, and you've got one minor top there. So definitely something which is a point to note, which is that in spite of the big gap down, the market did recover, right? And you probably see this all through as the theme of today's IMR. And the point, or the what I'm looking for, is basically, I think, much better opportunity than as I put out in the post. I had mentioned that if in case any of us, and most of us, I think, would have missed this opportunity about 3 months back when the Nifty was at around 7,000, it's went to 8,000, about a 15, 12, 13% rally. This correction now is really a very good opportunity to build longer term portfolios. So not so much from a trading perspective, but more from a long-term investment perspective. I think we're going to find some good opportunities. Can't rule out volatility Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then we'll see what happens. Anything is possible right now. Cameron, of course, resigned. Okay, But all said and done, it's early days to really decide what's going to happen. And like I said, a very, very slow process. And for all you know, they might, figure out something, and, the markets are going to like say, okay, this has happened, but, we're going to figure a way out. And it's not the end of the world. It's not as big a disaster, perhaps, as the knee-jerk reaction in the early part of the day suggested. And if that is the case, then we could be in for a rally. The other thing to keep in mind as far as India is concerned is the monsoons are like, coming through, and there is, definitely going to be a push for the GST in the coming monsoons parliament session. So if that happens, and the GST goes through, and the monsoons are like sort of not too late and have recovered their intensity, then that's another big driver for the Indian market, right? So we'll see how things pan out, and we're going to have to just take it in a stride. So trading is definitely going to be, I think, higher risk. A bounce could easily happen as much as a fall could easily happen. So let's just look at the longer term opportunities and see what we can do. Okay, so probably the same picture. Now in the Nifty Junior, you can see that it came down to the 100 and the 200-day moving average zone and bounced off there. A better hammer formation, I would say, than what you saw in the Nifty. Well, across the board, I would say similar patterns. If there's anything really different, we'll check. Bank Nifty, okay, so after a massive rally on Friday, just gap down, went really down, and then has recovered up. So this gap is going to be there on almost all or most, and I don't think we're going to see too many closures of the gap right now. So that's one more thing. As it recovers, there's 100, 150 point up move on most of these indices in order to close that gap. Now you can see this energy. Okay, massive recovery, how it has taken support there, and also the long-term moving averages. Okay, so basically, moves down can be expected, but will probably be limited at this point. FMCG, not much of a shake-up, as you can see. I would say, more like a consolidation formation rather than a drop that we've seen in others. Infra, again, 200-day, 150-day moving averages, support zone, and it has recovered, right? We need confirmation. That's the only thing. And that confirmation could come, early next week, right? So infra definitely at a good, strong support. IT, well, I think this is the one which, nobody really knows how it's going to pan out. Massive gap, that's the first thing, and definitely a huge recovery. But the volatility in the currency, the company's hedges, forward cash flows, all sorts of things are going to be cause for concern for the IT companies. One thing, however, as far as IT companies go, is the devaluation of the pound, 10% crash, and also the rupee against the dollar. How that is going to affect in terms of the revenues. They should make more profits, but as we know, a lot of hedging takes place now, so that's going to be an interesting thing to watch. Pharma, right? So, well, at least one index without a gap now, right? So this is really interesting. So pharma, now I have to ask myself whether this is forming a sort of base or something. I'm not really sure. It's still, bearish with all the long-term moving averages going down and all the problems with FDA and all those things. But it's just possible that pharma could be a place that could bounce first in the coming week. I wasn't really expecting to see an index, a sector index without a gap, but well, having seen that, this reaffirms sort of strength that might be there. I keep forgetting I have to reorder this. PSU banks. So hardly any gap. Okay, there is a small one, but after pharma, this is the smallest gap that we've seen so far, right? And a pretty good recovery from the big gap down. Then reality, okay, so that's taken a big hit, but you can see how it just came to the 50-day moving average, lower Bollinger Band, and then recovered from there. If you remember, I think I've done that. I'm not sure, so it's probably time to do that maybe sometime next week. A fundamental review of sectors about 3-4 months back, and said a lot of them are fundamentally also screening buys. Realty and infra were one of them, and they have rallied by about 30-40% easily. And any correction, even now, fundamentally they're not hardly even reasonably priced, right? So realty and infra are the ones which have really moved gap down massively, but also massive intraday recovery. So keep a watch on these. Auto, right? So Tata Motors, biggest hit, and then things like Motherson Sumi and others. Maruti held out quite well through the day, right? Not too much affected by what happens in Europe. And I think there was also a thing about the yen rallying or something like that. So not sure how that pans out for Maruti, but anyhow. So another one which has recovered well, then capital goods. Okay, again you can see, again this is probably the 5th or 6th sector index, come to an important support level, 200 and 100-day moving average, and a nice bounce from there. Metals, right? So that's also a nice recovery, and then well, that's it, right? So I would think that on Monday, right? So let's look at this again. Yeah, it was 1.9 down. I really need, can somebody just, okay, 1 second. I mean, I'm just very surprised that FTSE is down only 1.9%, while DAX CAC is down 5-6%. So I'm just wondering if there's some wrong data here. Okay. Where is this? Okay, market. Yeah. All right. So here we've got S&P just reconfirming. All right. So FTSE down 2.5, but looks like Germany is the one which is really spooked, and everything else seems to be pretty okay. Okay. So as I see this is something that is going through my mind, which is that of course this is definitely premature, but if what I'm going to say happens as a follow through, then you might just have an opportunity on Monday morning, which is, as we have discussed, we've got a lot of these indices with big intraday recoveries, long, lower shadows, basically strong hammers. If on Monday morning you see it open above the high, that will be fantastic of the candle. So let's go to the Nifty. All right. So it opens above, so what's the high here? 8100.7, okay, or even opens in that region of that body, and then starts to move up, then you've got something almost of 100-point gap which is there, and it could close that on Monday, assuming these things stay on track like this, and especially if FTSE opens, or indeed if DAX 6% down recovers well, that will really be great. So if that happens, and Europe is also, America is really not too bothered by this, then this is who knows, the how do I say this, the long term, let's let me go to weekly. All right. The long-term uptrend of the Indian market is definitely intact at this point. There's no threat to it. As we mentioned last week, went from 7,000 to 8,200 without much of a correction. If anything, we had sideways corrections. And I said this also, long green candles on the weekly. We've never seen a really good long red candle on the weekly chart. And even with an event like Brexit, I wouldn't say this is a good recovery, right? So intraday, if it recovers 100 points Monday, Tuesday, and then 8,000, then we could easily break out of 8384 resistance zone with GST, monsoons, and all those um, triggers, and then who knows, 8688 is possible. So let's see, right? So that's just a view, something to maybe review on Sunday or Monday morning after seeing how Asia opens and things like that, right? Okay, so quite honestly, surprised that the fall is not much worse, surprised that FTSE US is not doing that badly, and that Indian markets are really very much on track, right? So we may not really get much more of a correction if we do. So let's talk about that. If we do in the market, say let's go to 7,700, 7,600, as of now, looks like it's not going to go below that 7,600, really good support. Okay, if it does go there, I think it's going to be, a good, significant, and maybe well-deserved correction out of this big move, right? And once that correction is over, assuming it comes to 7,600 or something, and if it starts again, that will probably take the market up another 1,000, 1,500 points by who knows the next 3-4 months. So either way, I would say that the uptrend is intact. Opportunities to buy for the long-term investor and traders. Well, you saw how it went down today, how it recovered intraday. You need to be really, really nimble, right? So I had some good intraday trades today, so went off well. So overall, quite happy, right? So if you're a trader, be quick, be fast. Otherwise, just stay out, let the market settle down, and then go in. So back to what we want to find, which is basically good long-term investment opportunities. Really don't know where to start because everything was looking strong. So I would, so let's do this. I mean, let's just go through, obviously can't go through the entire F&O pack, it'll take too long, but would like to go through at least some of the major ones in each of the sectors and then see where we stand. So starting with HDFC Bank. So wow, this is really, really impressive. Okay, we've got, all right, so that was daily, that was weekly, sorry. No gap, nice move on Friday, has come down close to the 50-day moving average, close to a support zone around 1,100. Any move down to maybe 1,100, good to definitely pick it up. There will be, I guess, in banking, more concern about banks in Europe now, and that might just make banks elsewhere in the world a better buy. And HDFC is definitely amongst the top picks there. The market cap of HDFC Bank is more than the market cap of the top German bank, if I remember right. Okay. All right, ICICI 220. We got a chance today. May not get it for some time, but if it goes to 220, then just buy it. If it goes above 240, 250, then this is all set for 280, no doubt about that. I think you're going to just see this theme over and over of stocks hitting good support. Kotak, right? So came off its life high, but has come to its old life high, the thin green line or that zone thereabouts, and could go back from there. So that's another good one. Axis Bank, right, was nicely trending up. You can see the nice trend line. This broke down because of uh, the event, and most probably set back up again. Again, looking at volumes, you can see that actually, okay, except ICICI Bank and HDFC Bank and the other banks, volume didn't really, increase too much. Okay. Then let's look at State Bank of India, right? Okay, so high volumes, but here's the thing about State Bank of India. Okay, it's at an excellent support at 197, 196. You have double long-term moving averages broke to the 200-day. Wouldn't be too concerned, okay, though there is an MACD crossover. Comes down, definitely should pick it up. PNB got uprated, and look at this. PNB actually, goes up. One of the better performers today, and up 3.2%. Wow, that's really, 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 really good, right? And just at the 200-day moving average, 100 rupees psychological mark, this will definitely move. Okay, it's probably going to go to 140 or thereabouts, in my opinion, right? So I think it is set for that. Definitely pick up PNB. You can see this big volume set accumulation going on, right? This is a stock to definitely buy along with SBI on every dip. Bank of Baroda, well, maybe not so well placed, but nevertheless, all these moving averages bunching up there. Once it moves through that, it'll just tend to jump 10-15% very quickly in a week or two. And very nice, even without the Brexit, this sort of patterns, good support, hammer, bunching of moving averages are nice places for either nice breakouts or breakdowns. And then you've got to take that call on that. Must, I think, clearly state that given what I've seen intraday and end of day right now, and on Europe and US right now, my bias is clearly on the long side. Okay. Bank of India, I would pass this. Let's move on. So definitely PNB would be the pick, and any of the private sector banks. ICICI Bank came to a nice support and took off, right? Okay, so that's on the banking side. Some stocks that I was tracking, right? So DHFL, Divan Housing Finance, 200. It's a give and take. The stock consolidating, and I think at some point when it breaks out of 200, it's got the potential to go to 250, 260. Too early to look at that actually. All right, so it's also right. So M&M Finance, okay, Mahindra and Mahindra. The thing is that it's in this consolidation 1, 2, 3 years, right? 1, 2, 3 years consolidation zone, and should it come down, okay, the lower it comes, and you can see going up on good volumes, coming down on low volumes, and it's got this gap here, 280. 280 is also the 100-day moving average. Somewhere there, if it comes, could be a good buy, and once it breaks 340, 360, the stock is going to 400 for sure. Okay, SKS Micro, please, look at it for the long term. Stock went to 700, came down. The thing about SKS Micro is that it's breaking out of 2011, 2016, 2015 sort of triple top, and has the potential to, go all the way to its life high, which is at about 1,400. Okay, so it's a stock that can double from here. You can see the, very, very excellent recovery. Again, kisses the 50-day moving average, lower volume of band, and moves out. You had to be really nimble today in order to catch these things and have, multiple daily charts open. Look at the bounce. Look at that it took out went from some nice supports, and then just get in with some guts. Right? Okay. REC. Okay, so think about REC multi-year supports. Okay, 2010, 2012, 2013, and then 2015 and then now 2016. Especially on weekly chart, okay, you can see the MACD having done a crossover. There is it's really not a divergence, I would say, okay, because let's see the close here, 156, here close, oh, 155, here close 155, okay, just a second. All right, so bullish divergence on the weekly chart, mind you, on REC, okay, and a multi-year support. It's going to test your patience. Could languish there for weeks, but if it starts going up, 20 to 200 to 30 could be levels that could easily happen. So from the current price to 200, that's quite a good percentage move, right? So definitely REC. Right, trying to look. Okay, should be looking at IDFC now. IDFC went from 40 to 50, so that itself was a 25% move, and you can see that it's been just consolidating, and with the 50 rupee level and multiple moving averages, 200-day at 50.80. You can see how the 200-day exponential is providing nice resistance. You can see how the 50 and 100-day provided nice support today. Okay, and again, low volumes. This is, in my opinion, setting itself up for, just doing consolidation. And once this consolidation move is over, you should see 60, and it will happen in a week like that. Okay, the problem is you don't know when. Okay, coming to IT space. Okay, so TCS, well, look at that. This is the constant theme we are seeing again and again. Long-term moving averages providing support and gaps in some stocks. So TCS come to 2,500 sort of. Today's low 2514.15, bounce from there. The rupee depreciation overall should help. So where they talk about orders and whether companies will have to redo business somewhere else in Europe or Frankfurt or something like that. So a lot of ifs and buts. There's a fundamental thing, but technically that's the support. Infi, again, just notice how again the moving averages and just providing lots and lots of support. I think that at the slightest hint of good news, you'll probably see good rallies developing in a lot of these. Of all the stocks, Wipro is probably standing out. Also should put a disclaimer that I do have a long position on it. Right, it was performing the best of the IT pack in the last week, 10 days. Today, of course, came down and again took support on a whole bunch of those things. And once it clears, I would say 560, 565, then 580, 590, 600, I think is definitely possible. Let's just take for what it's worth. Given that it's panning out so well, just assume you did not know anything about Brexit. Something happened in some other planet, and you're looking at these charts. Then you are compelled to look at the fact that the stocks have come to very good support, either multi-month, multi-year, not even multi-day, and or at lots of good long-term moving averages, and then bounce from there. Okay, and then TA is TA. That's it. And I think it's worth repeating that fundamentally nothing really changes for, I think, quite a long time, at least 6 months to a year. Cameron already said that, it will be the next prime minister will have to invoke Article 50 but the EU has already said, get done with it, and basically telling, get lost and all that. We're going to remain, but we'll see what happens. By the way, there's an interesting case. Remind me later to tell you about Switzerland wanting to do a referendum, okay, to go back into the European Union, okay, because they got themselves voted out, and then they're finding that it's not such a good deal, and there's an effort going on in Switzerland to do a second referendum to see if they can convince the people to get back in. So let's see. Start looking at the fine print. There's a lot of interesting and initially conflicting stuff going on in Europe right now. Okay, Reliance. So that one really, broke down. Supports 200-day, all this moving average, 980 plus a whole bunch there. Luckily, it has, turned back up from there. Not looking too healthy, I would say. Okay, but again, it's been in this long-term, multi-year consolidation, and one of these days, I think probably many weeks ahead, it is going to break out, I believe. Okay, so if you look at this multi-year weekly chart, okay, it's got good support at all the way, and then as an investment again, to reiterate today's focus, could easily go up. Alright, so I've been screaming my head off about these OMCs for 2 years now, saying just go buy the damn things. Hopefully some of us did, and you can see that actually green candle today, okay, and better to make sure it got updated. Yes, it did. Green candle at a life high, 1,000. Crude oil went down. All right, so I'm not sure if petrol is becoming cheaper in 10-15 days, but anyhow, breaks 1,000 or comes back to even. I doubt it's going to come back at this point to these levels, which is like 550. We just have to wait and watch. But point being that there are some stocks that are in the green. They're doing really, really well. BPCL at the cluster of long-term, resistances. Sorry, life highs again 1,000 psychological hits. PCL or BPCL, both very much twins and similar. And any dips should be used to accumulate. Okay. The only concern about volumes is that volumes are dropping, but don't short these things. If anything, don't short these things. Okay, ONGC and oil, right, should basically be giving similar patterns, and weekly chart, mind you. Okay, and again I want to point out the bullish divergence in ONGC. Right, hasn't really taken off, you would say, but if you're looking for underdog stocks, then this could perhaps be that. Okay. So let's see. Okay, coming to energy, you would hardly think there was a problem here. I mean, something like this was news driven or results and all that, and this is what Brexit does, nothing. Okay, so just a blip. 200-day moving average kisses, goes back up. Any opportunity at lower levels to buy goes to 165 most probably. Again, stock is consolidating between 120 and 160. Breaks out from 160. Again, weekly chart, mind you. 220 is the next level to look at. On the daily chart, you can see actually closed up, and I would think maybe Monday it closes the gap and you have a gap closure trade possible. Tata Power, right, again, see how it took support at the 200 and the 50-day moving average and has moved up. Again, very low volumes, as though this is just a non-event. All right. JSW Energy. Not sure what happened here, which was the 8th of June. Massive volumes, and then basically came back today to where it took off that day. And this is the thing: stocks take off. If you track them and follow them long enough, something will happen to give you a second opportunity to get in. There's no reason to hurry. And at this point, you're like thinking of missed the bus and all. But stock went from 75 to 85. That's a 14-15% move, but came there today, and today has just closed at the 200-day moving average. And this is coming out of a multi-year downtrend, not a multi-year, okay. So a multi-month, and is probably set to go to 100 or 120. Okay. So another one that I have been tracking closely, and this is Power Grid, and Power Grid is something which is coming to the 2008 high there, okay, right on your left of the screen. Then the 2015 high here, and then the 2016 high there. It's like a, not really, but a double top for sure, and a possible triple top. And once it clears 155, it will clear the 2015 peak, and then after that, it's got to go to about 165. If it clears that, then this could easily be a 175, 200 rupee stock, and I believe it really has the potential technically to do that. So move down, but recovered again. Unfortunately, on this system, I don't have intraday charts, but any of these, if you look at the intraday charts, you will see how the intraday recovery on a good number of these stocks happen on some really good volumes, right? So keep that in mind. PTC, Power Trading Corporation. Okay. I'm going to skip this. This going nowhere. This is the one. Petronet, making life highs. Okay, Petronet is making life highs, and today, wow, it's just about, I guess, what do you want to say? No, not very good volumes, but definitely I would say qualifies for an applause, and closed very nicely. And this stock 300 easy, right? These are sort of stocks where, technically speaking, if you make a mistake and a blunder, you just hold on to them, and uh, they'll pay you back for your conviction, unless of course something dramatically wrong happens. All right. So Petronet, definitely. Then Gale, nothing much. Then, okay. HUL. Well, look at that. Hardly a blimp. Just it's consolidating. That's it. It needs to worry more about monsoons and all the competition in the FMCG space. So is ITC. It's like nothing happened. These would be potential strong moves if monsoon is a trigger. Not sure GST is going to make a big difference to these guys. Okay, but monsoon, good support levels, and so you could definitely keep these on your list. Okay. Right, McLeod Russell. Right, so notice 200, how it was a very important resistance. Okay, 140 double bottom. It is definitely, I would think the way technically it is set up, it wants to break out, is how I'll put it. Okay, this stock wants to break out of 200, and if it does 220, 240, that's a 10 to 20% move is easily possible. For a trader, I would definitely be wanting to look at McLeod Russell. Right, so that, and then Titan went up today, right? Just shot up, went to 400 intraday, came back, cooled off, and essentially it continued with the breakout move from the 370, 380 today. I guess somebody tried to, or some set of people just tried to push it up on account of gold and safe haven stuff like that. Didn't really succeed, But if it comes back down to say 370 or 380, then Titan is a buy. All right, let's come to autos. Maruti, yeah. You must have read that they've increased production of the Baleno a lot and reducing the waiting period. It's been a pretty good success for Maruti. And again, 4,000 psychological mark, long-term moving averages, uh, probably going back to 4.6, 4.8. M&M did a lot of dance, but that's an impressive, what would you say, engulfing. If you look at it, it did what it has definitely done in the last 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks, one day, 1320 to 1390, 70 rupees, and just had it fly high, just shy, just a kiss away from that, and it's like a 2-year, 2.5-year consolidation. Goes up 1500 breaks. This is definitely a potential breakout candidate. Okay, all right. Tata Motors is probably the biggest maybe concern, but look at this. Think about something else. The British pound gets devalued, which means their cars actually become cheaper for export, right? And in the longer term, that should help them sell more of their cars. And if that logic catches the fancy of the market, then it could actually go much higher in terms of rupee profitability. This company could be making a lot more. Will the devaluation of the pound and its effect on the conversion on the rupee get offset by the number of cars that they sell? Okay, so if they sell more and basically can beat the devaluation that has effectively happened, then who knows? And if the pound goes back up again, then that's definitely something else to consider. So definitely a big gap, 450 to 480, but could close, and 50-day moving average, very nice. I would say 6-7 months sort of a cradle being formed in the long-term moving averages. You can see that and get what. Oh, by the way, yes, see what happened today. See what happened today. This gap got closed. You see this? Okay, this gap in the yellow got closed. I have to move that. Sorry. All right, that gap got closed, and we actually just put up another gap. So this was the gap that was from its excellent results, and would have said, oh God, missed that chance. And then now we have a gap here that has to be closed, and it will be closed, right? It's just a matter of time. So 450 to 480, that's 30 rupees, almost 7-8%. And from its intraday lows, that's a really good recovery. So how gaps get closed? This is one of them. Okay, big event or no event, big move, closes the gap, and that's it. One day session, one. So if we had some tool which was like there, okay, this gap is there, oh, it's come to a gap, and then it's a quick gap closing, then there are, I think, a bunch of stocks like that you would have found on today's opportunity. Right? Ashok Leland, look at that, right? Went to life high 1112, unable to beat that, cooled off to 100, went to 92, and then back to 96, right? And 92 is, as you can see, a really good support, multiple support zone. I wouldn't be in a hurry to buy it right now because the long-term moving average seems to be, flattening out, turning around. But I wouldn't write this off. Wait and watch. Bajaj Auto, Life High. I'm really surprised. This is going to break out on Monday. Next week, Bajaj Auto, 1.5 year or 1 year, something double top or triple top, how you want to count it, 2,700. Okay, volumes not great, but not bad either. Okay, this is going to break out 2,700. It's going to go to 3,000 for all I know in maybe end of July. Okay, or earlier than that. Hero Motors also not far from its life high, and yeah, breaks out 3,200. I think Bajaj Auto will break out first. Hero Motors will do a follow through. These are stocks that are going to move 10, 20, 30%. Again, remember, good monsoon, good bike sales. Okay, so all right. Okay, so one big thing that fell was Motherson Sumi. Okay, but and almost exclusively Europe focused. So there's going to be a lot of volatility around this stock for sure. Just stay away from it. Don't invest, don't trade. Okay. And let's come to steel. All right, Tata Steel, you can see came to 200-day moving average and has, just gone up from there. By the way, so metals, steel, again, one of the best movers in the last 3 to 4 months in terms of 30 to 40% moves. Extremely attractively valued fundamentally 3-4 months back. I don't have the data for valuations right now, but I will get that updated and we'll do a review there. But all these moves down are potentially good opportunities to get into them at cheaper. That's one of the reasons why I said sort of bargains. Now this is one stock which is amazing, JSW Steel, right? Triple top, okay, from 2008, 2010. Okay, let me expand this. All right, and then 2014, and then 1, 2, 3, quadruple top. Let's put it that way. Okay, I think you're just waiting to break out. 1350 recovered very nicely. Anybody having the patience for long-term portfolio and or trading, you should look at JSW Steel. Okay, look at Vedanta. Okay, went from 70 to 130. Okay, that's like 100% thing. Comes to 100 and 200 exponential moving average. Nice crisp, nice sweet spot. What a fantastic recovery today. Okay, these are the days, and these days will happen once a year, twice a year. Okay, and if you just, I don't know, either you have to be just divinely blessed to be there, and that's just not enough. You've got to have your guts around you, you've got to have your systems in place, you've got to know your level, you've got to have your alerts, and on days like this you could make your half year salary. I'm not joking. Okay, I was discussing this with somebody who works in a treasury bank today, and they're just telling about the amazing stuff that was happening in the banks today and how much profit they have made, in terms of many things, spreads and reintroducing hedges which they had removed last week, and amazing. And just that, it's going to be party today. All the banks are having a party today because they made money on, of course, at the cost of their customers in a sense, right? But you can't really, nobody is to be blamed here for that. Okay? But they did that, and it's been fantastic. So, yeah, Coal India, right? So I had, again, I'm showing this because see the nice support. None of these lines I'm putting today. It took support 305 nicely and has bounced up from there. Once it's past 316, it's going to 340 for sure. Okay. Cements have been trying to break out for weeks now. Again, disclaimer, ACC is a position I have. Okay, and from here, actually, some of the trades, I remember because of ACC. in spite of the big volatility today, never went into the red in terms of, from where one entered to where they went, and then from where they are, likely to go. And those are the good setups that one should really, really look for. And in the case of ACC, I would think 1600 gold, 1650. And then who knows, good monsoon, 1750 is possible. And you'll see that across the board in all cement stocks, right? So Ambuja really, really moved in the last 3 days. Okay? ACC has not. We are basically, brothers in promoter group, everything, all that stuff. And just wait and watch. Then Ultratech, okay, that's waiting to break out. 3400, moves out, this stock will go to 4,000 bucks. Okay, so again you can see ACC and all that not yet broken out. This one 2015 to now has to break out. Okay. Grasim actually the new life high 2 weeks back, consolidated, came down, and then has recovered nicely. This is like a flag more than anything else. Okay, wouldn't really be too much in a hurry to get in, but still just wanting to point out the strength which is there. Okay, let's come to realty. DLF. Okay. I know some people shorted DLF yesterday, today. I really hope they closed and they made their money. Right, again went down 135 to 127, and then nice recovery. Again, DLF, I would think once it breaks 140, it's really just going to go up and go to 180. Okay. On the weekly chart, you probably see it better. Okay, let's focus on the right side. This is like one head and shoulder, not really a head and shoulder consolidation of some type. And I would think 170, 180 in the next quarter or so is easily possible. Okay, so Unitech, right? All of us, I think, been taken by surprise. Went from 380 to 620, almost a 70-80% move in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 days. And look at it today. Right? It comes to 490, and then let's say 5 rupees, and then it's 550. That's like 10%. That is there again. Psychological number, 100-day moving average, and this takes off from that. This is nothing but a what do I say? Correction of a massive up move, and once it clears 650, this is a 10 rupee stock in maybe a month or something. Same thing for GMR Infra, though the picture is really not that strong as it is in Unitech. JP Associates, okay, so that's another one took off from its life low at 530, went to 760, 50% move, has basically consolidated, and you have the patience. This would go to 10 bucks. That's another 30-40% move that we are talking about. Okay. Yeah, this is the other one to keep in mind. HDIL, 100 rupees, psychological mark. Once it clears that 120, 130 is something I think could easily happen. Right. I think a lot of these stocks, must warn you, their lot sizes have changed by a significant amount for July from June. So if you are venturing into FNO, please keep that in mind. Okay, so Dr. Reddy's consolidating. So Dr. Reddy's, and I don't know which is the other pharma company, some amount of exposure to Venezuela, and Venezuela has some clampdowns, massive clamps down on foreign exchange and all those things, and it's what anybody there who has put money is not going to get their money back. So some of the Indian auto companies, and pharma companies which are exported there now have big bills there, money there that they cannot take out, massive restrictions, and in spite of that, not much of a blip. And I would just say, again, once it goes past 3,200, 3,250, this is just going to shoot off to say 343450. Okay. Look, again, 6-month consolidation move. Look at it on a weekly chart, and so some FDA thing here, I think. And once this is over, then most probably head up. Okay. Sun Pharma, last week I had talked about a downtrend flag on that. Okay. In the meantime, some news has come out about buyback, and that got triggered yesterday. Yeah, I think yesterday or day before, and that's why all this fluctuation, volatility. So there's a statutory buyback, and the price has been fixed, and because of that, this has happened. Otherwise, it broke down from that downtrend flag, and well, could have gone down, but this is how the market is. Something comes, and you have to, review and get out if you have to get out with a loss. Okay, Cipla again. Can you see how it's come there? It's extending that line, and it has flat up. Let's make it flatter. Right. So it came. You can see exactly there, 460, and then took off. I wouldn't do anything with Cipla right now. Actually, it could be a breakdown candidate rather than anything else. Okay. Lupin consolidating, disease lab, again, long-term moving averages, and then just sitting there. Okay. What else do we have? Yeah, Biocon. So the stock went from 550 to 750 in about 2 months. Now again, it's consolidating. Okay, that's today's blimp. Okay, for an investor, they wouldn't really be bothered. The stock tier 750, 800 is on the card. May come to, that's something to keep in mind. It may come to that level at around 640 at some time, but we'll see. Okay, as a trade, you can wait. Okay, it's really far away from its long-term moving averages. MACD is pretty high. Okay, negative. So it's not going to go up in a hurry, unlikely. So let it cool off, then you can look at it. From a trader's perspective, there's probably it's actually not a good short, but yes, a short simply in terms of cooling off and possible 650 maybe, I don't know, in the next few weeks. But then long term, it's a buy. Okay, now idea is one more, which is sitting at a multi-year level. Here is that 2007, 2008, 2011, 2012, 2013, 2016, multiple times. Okay. Not sure whether, so that's a multi-year support that is there on idea, and it's not going to go up in a hurry, that is for sure, but I think the downside is pretty limited, and it did clearly go below 100 today and went to a low of 96.55, but from a long-term investor's point of view, maybe an option is that. Okay, then Z. So Z, if it's 2000 .com boom was not there, this would be considered to be a breakout candidate, and that's my whole point of having that dotted green line. It's come there, and then it's taking support, and from here should go back up to perhaps much higher levels. Okay. Yeah. Let think that's it. Is there anything else? Tata Chem, nothing. Okay. Right. So the way I look at it, to wrap it up for today, really don't see any shorting opportunities which one can look at. Just if the market does go down, I think at lower levels, as you saw over and over again, sector by sector, there are lots of actually good buys. I think this is one of those things that comes, once, twice in a year, and this is the sort of thing a long-term investor basically waits for. So I all hope that you're sitting on some amount of cash, and whatever cash you have, you've got plenty of opportunities to actually go and see which one you might like. Of course, to shortlist from, I don't know, maybe at least 30, if not maybe 50, if not, or at least 30 or 40 good ones would require definitely maybe half a day, 1 day's more work to look at things like risk reward ratios, percentage possible moves, annualized returns, and all, simply from a technical perspective, but it can be done. And once you do that, you can definitely decide your 5 or 6 or maybe 10 stocks. Manju is saying IBR, India Bulls Real Estate, is it? Okay, if you're talking about India Bulls Real Estate, then well, just like everything else, big hammer, okay, 90 to where? Almost to 77, and recovered to 85. That's massive. If you're a trader, you would have gotten, literally murdered today. If you hadn't been thrown out by the system, you should have had massive monies to support your mark to market, even just for one lot. But yeah, this is a stock 50 to 80, and then, I would think in the longer term, reality space and all, ready to move, may come back to maybe 85, 80 levels next week. A bit of a strong red candle, but if you look at it, volumes, fantastic accumulation has happened in the last, 8, 9 weeks, and this is just I would say, in quotes, natural correction, a healthy correction, if nothing else. And then once it's above 100, then 140 is 140, 150 is distinctly possible, right? So that's what you were asking for, Manju. Okay. Anyone else? Anything? Maybe one or two more, and then we can close. Otherwise, I think good. I mean, like I said, really, really impressive state of the market. Going back to where it is, well, not much has changed, and FTSE, well, 2.7 down, slipping a bit, but given where it was, and what's that? And S&P, Dow, Nasdaq, not much. Yeah. So review it over the weekend and see where the world moves. I mean, closes, and then I think we'll have some good idea about what to do next. Okay. All right. So that's it. All right. So I must say, a landmark day in many ways. So the vote itself and the market action, which is overall basically telling, I think, screaming everybody like, look, you've got giving an opportunity to buy, use it, is how I would put it. So volatility will be there, traders beware, but longer term investors, I think, a nice once in several months opportunity at hand. Right? Okay, so with that, I'm going to end the IMR. Thank you very much for your participation, welcome your feedback, and have a good weekend. And I will send out these the recordings by probably lunchtime tomorrow. Right? Thank you and good night.